Hello, Fredericton. My name is Gail Costello, and I'm running for City Council in Ward 7. I know that you've been hearing a lot recently about change, the need for change in council, and I know that the big push has been for women to be on council. But I think it's important for you to know that we don't just need women on council. We need lots of people on council, and our council needs to be more representative of all people in our community. We need changes in the way people think. We need changes in the way people make decisions. We need changes in empathy for people in our community who have more problems than us. We need to have councillors who are willing to listen and respond. We need to have councillors that are problem solvers and possibly even rule breakers, and not always resort to, well, we can't do this because it's a policy, we can't do this because it's a rule. We need to have people who are brave enough to step outside that box, change the policy, and help people who need help. Our councillors right now have had 5 to 9 years to make changes that we know need to be made in the city of Fredericton. And it's not enough for them to just simply announce all the things that they want to change and run again. They've had 5 to 9 years to make those changes. We know what people's concerns are. People have been talking about the concerns in Fredericton for a long time. So when I decided to run, I started to educate myself and I started to work hard. So it's not just a matter of publishing media and having it mailed out and walking around and talking to people and putting door knockers on. I started to do some education and some learning. So one of the first things I did, actually I did this before I decided to run, is that I got involved in a public engagement for our landfill. And I went to that presentation and I listened and I asked questions because this one really affects Ward 7. I also started attending 2-hour Zoom meetings every Saturday morning where those of us who were participating received a lot of formal training and a lot of education. We got education and training on things like policy, what it's like after you get elected and what your first year is going to look like at City Hall. We got training from successful politicians. They hired companies to come in and do training with us on social media, campaign training, formal media training, one-on-one media training. We had one-on-one ward data training, city training. Also attended the Life in the Week of a Councillor, where I went to PAC meetings, Economic Vitality, Elections New Brunswick. So we've all been engaging in a lot of work. And you should know that the women that are running and almost all of the new councillors that are running are highly educated, highly experienced. And I'd like to say this because there's a lot of rhetoric out there that says, well, we can't have all these new people on council with no experience. You should know that the new people coming to council are very experienced and very educated and have experience, some all over the world. So don't be fooled. Okay, we have very, very smart, brilliant people who are hoping to be your city councillors. We all know what is important to residents of Fredericton. Fredericton residents have spoken loudly, and they say that affordable housing and homelessness is one of the most important issues in Fredericton. Transit is very, very important. Parks and trails and accessibility to parks and trails is very important. Property taxes, and of course, Officers Square. Well, our existing councillors have had 5 to 9 years to work on these issues, and not much has changed. Look at Officers Square. Who was listening? You know, we only have one councillor right now who is speaking up and saying that maybe we erred here and it's time to go back to the drawing table. I don't really hear anybody else who's running say that. But we need new thinking. It's not good enough, now that the election's upon us, to just simply start talking about these are issues that are important to me. You've had 5 to 9 years to work on those issues. So I guess you have to ask yourself when you're getting ready to go on May 10th to vote, has your councillor improved these issues in your ward? Has your councillor spoken out loudly against the racism that we've seen on council? Is your councillor empathetic? How did they vote on the City Motel homelessness issue? And that's public knowledge. We know that Councillor Keenan, Councillor Chase, Councillor McDermott, Councillor Mallet, and Kevin Dara voted against it. Some of them because they say that they were protecting constituents' wishes. The data is clear that homelessness and affordable housing is a very important issue. Also, we saw from the immediate public outcry that the public was not happy with this vote. So I'm asking you folks to please take a look at what has changed in your ward. Has transit improved in your ward? Have the pathways been paved in your parks and your trails? Can your kids and senior residents who have disability issues able to get into the parks? Have your property taxes remained stable? If this hasn't happened, then why are you considering voting for the same councillor again? It's time for change. It's time for new thinkers. They've had their time. Give some new people with new ideas who understand people, who are empathetic to people, who are educated, hard workers. Give them a chance. Vote for some new councillors on May 10th.